TK99 and TK105. Syracuse's classic rock.
It is 7:39 here. It's Gomez with TeNesha as we welcome in Jeff Rogers. He's an executive business coach. Jeff, good morning. How are you today?
Well, good morning, Gomez. How are you? How's the team?
Team is doing well. Team has had some shots already at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, man, I feel left out.
Well, I do have a little bit left over here for you.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see here. I poured you a little bit of peach lemonade. Mm-hmm. And This is kind of like, and I know you probably have better advice for people in business to start their day than with a shot, would be my guess.
Well,
but as long as we're at it, because we did have a little bit left here.
All right, let's go.
All right, anybody want to give a shot and a shout out to here before we get going?
Well, you know what? To all those people who want to get better, right? To improve what they do.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Down the hatch. Well, dig in. Here we go.
All right.
Oh, yeah. That's
the second of the morning.
Shouldn't everybody
Hello.
do that?
Well, Jeff, first, just to get to know you a little bit, you came in the building maybe Friday, just to take a quick glance around and kind of meet people and meet me and one of our colleagues here, Johnny Flop, who works in the event side. He comes into the studio before he knew that you were coming in here to see me and to see this, and he said, "My T-ball coach is out in the lobby." So Jordan, a.k.a. Johnny Flop, as it turns out, you were his T-ball coach when he was like 6 years old.
Yeah, crazy, right? That was my introduction to the building. Right? Jordan coming on going, "You are my softball or my T-ball baseball coach." I'm like, holy cow, what a small world, right?
Totally small world, yes.
And he's crushing it around here. He's sharing with me all the things that he's doing.
Mm-hmm. He is great. Crushing it, and he started as an intern. And this, might work into a little bit of what, you have to tell businesses and people starting business or in business. Johnny started as an intern here maybe 8 years ago, somewhere along the lines, and just with his enthusiasm, and he was just willing to give anything a shot with a great attitude, and he's worked his way in, and he does a lot of stuff here.
We talk about that a lot. Mindset is really everything, right? How you approach what it is that you do with that eagerness, with that enthusiasm, with that energy really dictates the results and how things are going to happen. So great story, and he proves it to be true. That's really fun.
Yeah, he does. So you're from Central New York, obviously?
Yeah, right from Syracuse, New York. And, was in business for 35 years doing contracting and really enjoyed that process. I share with people all the time. It's interesting. You understand what it's like to be successful. I know what it's like to hit a wall and suffer complete failure. And I think what's really cool is the ability to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and intentionally get back in the game. And that's what business is all about. That's what personal effectiveness is all about. That's what taking yourself from where you're at now to where you want to go is all about. Mm-hmm. So I help people do that, and it's really interesting.
And that's regardless of if somebody's just starting a venture or they've been in one for a long time and just want to go to the next level and figure out how to make that leap.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. So I work with people that are just starting out, like we talked about, budding entrepreneurs. And a lot of times people come into that environment with a lot of success, a lot of experience, or they're really good at that task, but they don't know the business element of things. Mm-hmm. And that's where I can, lend a hand and help them through that space. And then sometimes, people have maybe hit a rough patch and need a little help getting through that. Or what I find mostly right now is people just are excelling and want to add gasoline to the fire and really see what their performance is capable of. And that's really exciting to work with too.
Yeah.
A number of years ago, we had Ted Nugent on the phone for an interview.
Oh, that had to be a fun interview.
Oh, yeah. Ted's got a lot on his mind. But he had said something that just struck a chord when you were talking about it there, because he had been on one of those VH1 documentaries about his life and his career, but at one point, he lost everything.
Yeah.
He was taking a flight from Detroit to L.A. to do a concert, and it was a funny story in hindsight because he said, I was sitting in coach, and I hadn't been in coach, and like, why am I in coach? And that's when he found out that his business people had done a poor job of managing all of his money, and he'd lost like $100 million, whatever it was at that level. He's a rock star, so he had that kind of money. But he said, similar to what you just said, musicians are artists. That's why you hire, like in his case, business manager, whatever, that didn't know what they were doing. But that's the goal. He said, I'm an artist. I want to create. So I don't know that aspect of a business.
Right.
So people who are in that line of work, similar to the story Ted Nugent was telling, that's where you can help them out.
Yeah, really. You got to trust the people that are around you and provide accountability to make sure that the results are what you're intending. And a lot of times you get so busy, you take your eye off the ball, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in left field and wonder how the heck you got there, So to help business leaders, owners through that process is really where I find joy and what my purpose is.
What do you think the biggest, one of the biggest obstacles that people in business starting out or already in business go through?
Yeah, probably staying the course, right? Right now, specifically, the rate of change is so strong, right? The way that we do things now pre-COVID or post-COVID is significantly different than the way we did them pre-COVID. That's just in the immediacy. But when you think about it, the rate of change is tenfold what it was 10 years ago.
Right.
So if we're not adaptable and if we're not willing to change, be creative and be innovative, if we get stuck in our ruts, the way we always have done things, we're going to get left behind and become irrelevant. So I think really the biggest obstacle is to not fall into the trap of doing things the way we've always done them and expect better results.
But that feels so comfortable,
It
Jeff.
does feel comfortable.
It's so
Oh my gosh.
comfortable, and you don't. And it's like, oh, I don't want to make this change. How do I know if it's going to work or not? And these people, some of these businesses are literally people's livelihoods. It's how they feed their
Very
kids.
much
It's how
so.
they put a roof over their
it's
head.
serious
So
business.
making one small change and not knowing if it's going to work or not is
That
scary.
risk, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Think about this. Think about a target, right? And in the center of the target is the comfort zone. And then outside that is the learning zone.
Yeah.
And then the uncomfortable zone. And then the panic zone. We talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
And then outside of all of that is the growth zone.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to leave the comfort zone, push through all those rings to get to the growth zone. There's so many forces that push us back, right? So sometimes you need a person like myself, an accountability partner, a thinking partner, to guide you through that process, right? It's not that I am this epiphany of information. Frankly, I'm not. But what I am able to do is lend those life experiences and that business experience and then hold people accountable to what it is that they want.
Yes.
Not what I want. But if you're truly purposeful about what you just said, then let's do it. And if you get stuck in the comfort zone, maybe you didn't want to do it.
Right. And that's what a lot of
There
us
you
need,
go.
accountability partners.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
It's
someone to make sure, we're getting into.
on a much simpler scale, for example, like Weight Watchers.
Right.
Like if every Tuesday at 6 o'clock you have to go weigh in front of people.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You're more apt to follow it. Or even when you get to a point like, oh my God, there's an ice cream sundae right there. It's like, oh, I got to weigh in on Tuesday. I'm not going to. But if you don't have that accountability partner, it's like, I'll take two.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. And if you don't know you're going to weigh in, right, and that public peer accountability,
Yes.
boy, does that have leverage.
Yeah.
It sure does.
A lot of times commitment, right? Commitment is the name of the game. And a lot of times people say they're committed, but
Yes.
truly are not committed. And I find myself in that category quite often, right? So that accountability. I have a coach too. If you're a coach, you want to practice what you preach. So I have a coach as well. And without that, I think sometimes I would be left in left field as well, right? Sometimes I'm pulled through that uncomfortable zone to get to where I need to go as well.
It's Jeff Rogers, Executive Business Coaching. How about a website here, Jeff? If people are hearing this and probably hearing about you for the very first time, what's a website or way people can get a hold of you?
JeffRogersCoach.com, Gomez.
And that's Rogers with no D.
No D.
No
No.
D.
ROGERS.
Jeff, great to talk to you. It's a Business Tip Tuesday. We'll talk to you again next week.
That's great.
And we'll see you soon. It's Jeff
Thanks,
Rogers.
guys.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yes, look at that. And we finished now we got to get some new shots for next
Yes.
week.
love it.
Stop sharing our
Good
shots
tradition.
with people.
It took the edge off.
Yes.
It does, right?
And he
Just,
has a little water here. Look at he's he's not gonna have a hangover.
I'm chasing it.
You're chasing it, right?
It is a 7:48 with Gomez and TeNesha here. We'll be right back.
TK99.